Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes roster review. Now, first of all, just an apology for not getting one out last week. I'll be honest, my personal life just got a bit hectic, so I just didn't have time, or let's just say I didn't have the urge to get it out. So I'm going to try and make up for it this week. However, we have got something to discuss at the very end regarding the future, so I'll leave that till the end. Stick around for that. In the meantime, though, we've got Mini Erik of SWGOH. So let's have a quick look at Erik's roster, or at least the general stats, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it. So, first of all, Erik is 2.266 million GP, top 80s 1.074, and top 65 0.968. Okay, so the way I look at that, it looks like there's a fairly good top 80 there, but I think what I'd say is the ships are maybe compensating a bit there as well. So, ships are 0.975, so there's a fairly good balance, you know, you're almost a million each if you like. We've got 14 Zetas, and we've got 6 Gear 13s, okay? We saw from the Squad Arenas team that at the very start that there is certainly a theme for this account already, so have a little guess amongst yourselves what the relics are going to be. So far we have got 2 relic 7s, 1 relic 6, and 3 relics of tiers 1 to 3. Again, you've seen 2 of them already. And then as far as mods go, Erik has got 1 25 plus mod, 6 20 pluses, 18 15 pluses, and as of yet 0 offense mods of 6% or higher. I always find those ones difficult to actually get myself, so when I bring that up in streams or when I bring them up in these roster reviews, just be aware they are hard mods to get. You know, you think about speed 25s as hard mods, offense of 6% are quite hard to get, so don't bother yourself if you hear that, by the way, guys or ladies. Yeah, it's just how these things tend to happen. So, let's actually have a look. Let's see how the roster is in a grander scale. Okay, so first things first, I think if it wasn't abundantly clear from the Arena team and a little bit of the Fleet Arena team, we've got a Sith Eternal Emperor account, or at least something that's going in that direction. So what I would say first of all, I've had a quick look at this already, just in the sense that I had a bit of a delay getting the recording started. And we have got 14 Zetas on this account, yet there is one that is just nagging me a little bit already. General Veers, aggressive tactician. At Relic 3, I feel like that is almost a mandatory Zeta, just for the fact that it's essentially the Zeta that has always been key to an Imperial Troopers team. So you're using it in Arena, for me, that is a must-have Zeta. Now, I'm actually going to challenge a bit why that is your Arena team. I say challenge just purely because, if we just go back a screen, we saw your Arena rank was 738. You are using 2 characters at 3-star and 1 at 5, so that does play a part. But I'm also looking at it and thinking, could that Zeta have bumped you up a little bit? When you think that via Zeta, it grants 50% turn meter whenever an enemy is defeated. So you look at it and you go, it's a very crucial one, in my opinion. You could get away with using Piet lead, but Piet doesn't look ready either. I mean, you're 5 stars. Stark isn't a leader, so it doesn't really work that way. Gideon isn't going to be an Imperial Trooper leader as much as he's going to be an Imperial Remnants leader. So I do look at it and I go, next Zeta, what is your next Zeta? And I'm saying that because I can also see that Jedi Knight Revan there, he's got 2 out of 3. Direct focus, I would argue, isn't mandatory, but it is very nice, so I can understand why you might be thinking, right, I want that Zeta. But yeah, I'm looking and I'm thinking, what is your next Zeta? If we're just going through what I can see on the board, we've got JK missing a Zeta. Grievous at that gear level isn't necessary. It's nice if you can get him, but I wouldn't say that those 2 should be ahead of Veers right now. Yeah, so let's just go through what your top tunes are first of all. We'll just actually see how you've modded. We'll see if there's any instant improvements, we could call them that. And then what we're going to do, we're going to just see how your factions are looking, just see how you're getting on in maybe GA, TW. Okay, so Vader. I did have a quick look at your Vader beforehand. I'll admit I had a little bit of downtime before I started recording, and it did catch my eye that you've done speed mods. What I would say, you've gone potency on the cross. I did like that. Crit chance on the triangle though. Now, I'm weighing this up in my mind, right? I'd maybe sometimes put too much of an emphasis on primaries. Because I look at this and I think you've got a nice bit of offense, you've got speed, you've got potency. I'm not neglecting that speed, can I point out? So it isn't a bad mod by any stretch. If it's like the best of what you've got, I completely agree, you know, use it. I think where I, for lack of a better way of putting it, I nitpick, is the fact that I look at the Relic 7 on Vader, it is a big investment still. And I think, can you do more? Can you get the best out of your Vader? So it's like here, we've got speed, offense, crit chance, very nice mod. We go here, speed, I wouldn't say these three are that great if I'm going to be brutally honest. You know, you don't really need tenacity on Vader, you don't need protection, you don't need defense. So it's only the speed that does something there. So yeah, it all depends really what you're going for. Again, I mean, we're looking at offense, crit chance again. Just go to the final one, finish off. Speed there, the other three don't do much. So it does seem like you've gone for a speed build, and when you look at the total speed, it does make sense. 277, that means Vader's going to get out early most of the time. I mean, when you think plus 16 from Vader alone will take him up to 293. So yeah, in terms of speed, it is a worthwhile way to try and build. Now, my thoughts come then down to the offense, and I think 7,258. That's reasonable. I will call it reasonable. And I've seen with those offense mods I was talking about before, the 6%ers, I've seen Vaders that can get up to about 9k. So I know that 7,200 is reasonable without actually an offense set. But what I would say is, can you just get more out if you did an offense build? Again, this is all debatable. You know, I'm still not 100% certain what the best Vader build is right now. Before, it was quite comfortably crit damage, crit chance. I've seen some people now going for offense. I've seen yourself here, for instance, going for speed. So if you in the comment section, you know, you're just replying to this or you're taking stock of what I'm saying, I'm curious how your Vader's getting on. Because I feel like the potency's there. I think potency's still going to be a big thing for Vader. I think if you're not landing Force Crush, then you're not getting Culling Blade off. Plus, what I would say with No Escape, we've now got the health and protection recovery. It's only minor protection recovery, but land those dots, Vader's got such survivability on his own. So that would be where I'm looking and thinking, can we just make sure he's punching in all the right places? That might be a very generic way of putting it, but like I said, I'm just not convinced crit chance is the right one there. He doesn't really need it now. Merciless will provide 50% crit chance, so he starts off crazy high anyway. I think he's... yeah, I mean, if we start there, take the 28% away there, he's, what, 56? So when he goes straight into Merciless, he's already at 100% crit chance, so he doesn't really need it. So, by all means, if this is like a case of you want him as fast as possible, you've got a crit chance triangle, it doesn't matter what the other stats are, I can go with it, I can get where you're coming from, especially with the potency there as well and the offense. The other secondaries there are quite nice. But, yeah, I just look at the odd ones out, the odd ducks in stats. It's like that diamond there, I think the speed's good, the others aren't as good. So, if we're talking about ones to change, or maybe ones to farm a different mod for, you could argue that is one to change, because that could probably work on someone like Bosk. Whereas that, you can get away with that on Vader. But equally, I don't see a health set being good on Vader. So there's little things to just constantly tweak. It might be a case that you want to stick with the speed set, you think it works, you've got good offense secondaries, but I would also say maybe get a different mod set in there, maybe even a potency mod set just for those dots. So again, I'm curious how you're getting on, but that is my eyeball on it. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, let's go back a page. I did have a quick glance at your throne. Now, a similar thought here with Vader. You've gone for a different way of modding than I would do it. So you've gone for 4 health sets and a tenacity set. Now, tenacity makes a lot of sense. You know, make sure he's not debuffed so he can get his fractures out. What I would say, you've got speed as well. Obviously, speed is very good. What I would also question, though, could you get that speed mod set in there? I mean, I'm looking at Vader. I'm thinking, yeah, I've got some good speed set. Could you get a speed set on Thrawn? Because Thrawn is easy at getting into the 300s. At least once you've got a nice big mod build anyway, you've got loads of mods to play around with. 300 should be a good, reasonable target. So 295 isn't shabby. It is not a criticism or anything, but it's like I'm putting down a personal challenge there in the sense of, is it possible for you to get into the 300s? And I look at that speed set on Vader, I'm thinking, would it be more worthwhile having it on Thrawn? Because even if Vader was a touch slower, with Empire allies, if you're doing a full team, he would still be faster than Thrawn, potentially. So, just a way of looking at it anyway. It might be things to play around with when you're doing your modding, but I just look at the speed overall there and I think, if you had a full speed set and you're getting the mod set bonus from the speed, would that be of more benefit than just getting to the 295 here? Again, you know your mods. I'm just looking at them at a glance. You've probably got a better idea of what you want to do with them. Okay. So I'm going to just skip over your boss for the simple reason Gear 12, I think there's room for it to grow. So even though it's small, I am going to have a very quick glance at your Jedi Knight Revan's going as far as how fast you've got him. We're looking at 10 speed, you've got the arrow's speed, 13, 10, 10, and 7. Alright, so this isn't going to be a fast Revan. Yeah, 242. I'd say if you're around the 260 mark, I would say that when you then go up to Gear 12 and then Relics, I would say Revan would probably be in a nice spot. You know, could still be improved, but 260 is like a good starting point with Gear 11. Maybe that's what you just need, a little bit of extra juice in him, but I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just, again, room to improve. Tarkin, I don't really know much about Tarkin's mods except for that you go for potency. Maybe I'm wrong though, because you've gone for crit chance and damage. So let me have a quick look at what the stats are looking like. And say you've got a little bit of speed on him. 180 crit damage, so I'm guessing that is a crit damage triangle. And I did miss the stat I was looking for, potency. Okay, so if we look there, we've got health, you got speed and a touch of potency. Speed, potency, yeah, no crit damage there. A little bit, I would always say that if you're going for a crit damage set, try and get a crit damage triangle. I know they're an absolute pain to get. I do know that. I'm always struggling to get them myself. What I would say, if you do get it, just try and build them up, because the like unicorns, you know, once you see one, you can't not see it. So yeah, just keep, whenever you see a crit damage triangle for a crit damage mod, get it. But yeah, let me just move along. We've got a bit of potency there. I can see that. We've got a bit of offense, I guess, there. And a bit of speed. Okay. So the reason I'm looking at potency, Callous Conviction. Grand Moff Tarkin gains defense equal to his potency percentage. Now, on its own, that isn't a lot. But when you get the Zeta, there is a potency component once again. So yeah, at the Zeta level, it will read, Grand Moff Tarkin gains defense equal to his potency and 20% potency per debuffed enemy. So again, that might not seem a lot, but it's just the idea that when you think about how Ultimate Firepower, the first special, works, you deal special damage to all enemies with a 100% chance to remove 50% of their turn meter. This attack gains offense equal to double Tarkin's potency percentage. So the more potency you've got on Tarkin, you're going to remove the turn meter quite comfortably with that special, but you're also going to deal bonus offense due to the potency. So I would mod for potency myself. I think, one, you're going to be getting the turn meter reduction which you want from ultimate firepower. Let me pop that on screen. But you also want to be able to get the offense that is equal to Tarkin's potency. So think about it this way, if you can get 100% potency on Tarkin, you are going to be getting 200% offense, if that makes sense. So it's definitely worth trying to build the potency up. So yeah, one way I would look to mod, it's not a surefire thing. I mean, to be honest, when I saw those mods, I thought, have you got high potency secondaries? Or maybe even a potency primary, but yeah, when you look at the stats and you get to 53.9%, I think, okay, you could at least do that potency at cross, just so you're getting the 35 at 6E, or is it 24 at 5E, or 5A? Point being, if you can get that potency bump, you're going to deal more damage, plus you're going to remove that turn meter more often. So yeah, one thing I would consider with Tarkin, I mean, I know in the long run he isn't a toon that everyone uses, but it's a case of when you're using him, he's going to be doing more, isn't he? So just something to keep in mind there. Okay, one thing I will look at with Stark is speed. How's he looking? 303, very nice, very nice. I'm going to say for something in your arena team, that is very nice to see. So I'm going to move along. Let's just have a look at your other Imperial troopers. So what's your Piet like? You got the Emperor's Trap, that's good. 252 speed, he's not a slouch, so that's good as well. Personally, something I am looking at is potency. Now, maybe that's just me for my specific needs. I'm looking at potency purely for suborbital strike. Now, this isn't relevant at this point for you for the fact you haven't got the Zeta, but with that Zeta you get the ability to daze enemies, and the more potency, the more chance you'll daze. So maybe not something you need to worry about now, but I would say keep it in mind. Just for that simple reason, if you're going to daze enemies, it slows the opposition down, and there are a lot of teams that it's really good to get a daze out on. So I wouldn't neglect it. I mean, you've got 2 potency mods there. You've got Again, I'm curious about your modding here. I'm thinking, could you afford a speed set? Maybe I'm just being a little greedy in that sense. I'm thinking speed, speed, speed. But equally, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe you've been doing a lot of the mods that are just in pairs. So your health, defense, potency, tenacity. Maybe you could just do with doing a bit of the actual speed sets. Maybe, again, I can't really see your entire roster here, but just at a glance, I'm seeing a lot of that. Okay, who do we go to now? We did have Gideon, didn't you? So let's find Gideon down here. Ooh, yeah, I've got a nest. 5-star gear 11. Let's just see how you're modding. All tenacity, that's great to see. And say 126 at 5-star, that is great modding. Tenacity, yep. Very simple with Nest. I would give her a Zeta when you've got one spare. You know, I know I'm giving you Zetas left, right and centre, but we all pretty much respect Nest as a community, I think, so I don't feel I need to go overboard explaining that one. 7-star Chewbacca. We'll go through the full roster review in a moment. I will come back to it. Let's just have a look at Gideon. Okay. A little bit awkward, this. In your arena team, as I'm seeing it, maybe you've put something in your arena team temporarily, but even though control the situation is the big move, I look at it and think, yeah, you could do with giving these two the mats, even if you are struggling for them a little bit. What speed are you at? 231? Not a slouch. Well, I say not a slouch. I'm thinking with 3-star, it's not horrendous. I think that is the issue I'm going to be saying here. I'm looking at Gideon, and I've got my own 7-star relics in my mind, and it's a while since I've modded Gideon that low, I'll be honest. What I would say is, if you're going to use him in arena, you probably need him a bit faster. But equally, it may not be worth using him in Arena. Which is kind of one of the things I was going to get onto anyway. So if I just back out of here, man, what I would be asking as a question is, how is it that you're using Imperial Troopers in Arena over Empire? Because you've got Papa Palps, you've got Vader, you've got Thrawn. Even if I've maybe thrown a question mark over Vader and Thrawn as far as can you change it a little, they're still pretty well modded, you know, as far as they should be able to do whatever you need to in Arena. You've got Tarkin, who I think just needs a little tweaking. And then I'm looking and thinking, even though Piet is only 5-star, he seems to be what you're working on right now for shards. So could you actually use him in Arena? Do Palps, Vader, Thrawn, Tarkin and Piet. It wouldn't be like a surefire team to win, but how I view it, you could put Inevitable Failure. Just make sure I got the name right. Yeah, Inevitable Failure. You could put that onto Tarkin, just because he's the least needed toon in the team. That would allow Vader and Thrawn not to get marked. But also, Vader's going to get boosts from Piet when you think about it. The Emperor's Trap. Yeah, you got all this lovely stuff here to begin with, but then you look right down at the very bottom. If Darth Vader is an ally, both Vader and Piet have accuracy, but then they have potency and tenacity. Now, I've already said about Piet, he benefits from potency when he's got suborbital strike, but we were talking as well about how Vader benefits from potency. So that would then reduce the need for a potency mod set. And as I've been reminded off recording before, sorry, I have to let Palpatine do his little crackle. Palpatine's lead does 35% potency. So I look at it and I think, you don't necessarily need potency if you're doing Palpatine lead. You can just focus all your stats on offense, which, to be fair, I would say you've been trying. I can't vouch for how that is offhand. I mean, 1,105, I'm thinking maybe with an offense set, you could get more out, but I don't know just offhand if that is high enough. So again, this is why I was asking your own personal opinion. But I do look at it and I think, with that team, I think you could do a lot more than what you're doing right now with Veers. So that is my opinion. I'm just going to put that out there. Like I say, I think to myself, if you're in the 800s in Squad Arena, could that team at least get you into the top 500? I mean, that might only be, extra 10 crystals a day? I can't remember offhand, I'll be honest. But whatever that small increase is from the top 1,000 to the top 500, would that be of benefit to you? Could just give you maybe an extra refresh a week or something. So just something to keep in mind. I'm going to leave it at that as far as Arena goes. So let's have a quick look at what you're doing with your roster. So we will skim through a lot because I'm guessing a bit like this, we're going to have some things that are maybe half done. Out of curiosity, is this a hyperdrive account? If it is, I'll probably notice in a minute. Bad Batch, yeah, as expected. Bounty Hunters. Okay, you did very well getting Chewie with just them 5. Very well done there. I mean, yeah, Gear 10, Gear, I don't know. Gear 8, I'm guessing. So yeah, very well done getting that done. Yeah, I'm just mulling over there. I don't think I've done it myself with that lower gear, so congratulations. I didn't look at Bosk. Let's just give him a bit of service a minute. I said it last time, I feel like there's always a character I don't look at that people are really proud of and I neglect it. But yeah, we've got speed, protection, defense, speed, health, tenacity. We've got defense, tenacity, speed, protection. Crit damage. Yeah, not really buying that one. Yeah, I'm looking there and I'm thinking that would be potentially a Vader mod. Potentially, anyway. The tenacity is way too high to really, for certain, be a Vader mod if you like, but the crit damage would be nice on him, and if you rolled the speed or the crit chance, it wouldn't be bad. It's just you don't want the defense or the tenacity. Yeah. Put it in the maybe pile. tenacity, you've got a bit of speed, tenacity again, defense, then finally tenacity, good, defense, speed, health. Okay. What are your stats looking like? So you got a fair bit of protection on by the looks of it. Again, I do struggle sometimes. I've got like Gear 12 Bosk on my Crimson account, but I don't really pay much note to it. I just let it be. So I'm going to have to pay more attention to my Gear 12 Boss for instances like this, but just having a look for what I can see. Speed looks a little bit low. Your tenacity's good. You can see you've got a nice chunk of tenacity. I was noticing that when I was looking at the stats. So what I would say now for Boss, the challenge is going to be, can you increase the speed and maybe a touch up the protection as well, whilst not dropping the tenacity? It's a real juggling act, but honestly, Bosca's a great character, so if you can find a way to do that, you're going to be onto a good little thing. We're going to skim down past the Empire, because we've looked at most of that. Yeah, are you on for 3PO? Not yet. What I will say, they've announced that they're going to start giving more gear away when it comes to hard nodes. So if I were you, I would start getting ready to farm that Wicket node. If you go and get more stun guns every day, that is the way to do it. I don't know when they're going to do it, but they said they're going to do it soon. As far as the rest, Aldi you get from Bronziums and other relatively cheap places, so you shouldn't need to farm him up to 7-star manually. Chirper, unfortunately, the only other way to get him besides Cantina is doing the Ewok event thing, the one with the Imperial Troopers and... Oh, sorry, not Imperial Troopers, the Empire and the droids. And I think they also give... Oh yeah, I'm getting my events mixed up. The other one was the Walker Assault event, and it's not Chirper to give, it's Wicket. So the one you're missing here as well is Logray. Whenever you see him in the guild store, pick him up. Honestly, I advise this to everyone. If you're going in the guild store and you see a piece of gear or you see a piece of Logray, get Logray. Honestly, it makes the event easier. Logray's more annoying when you face Ewoks full stop. Plus, you can get the gear later. You can't always guarantee Logray will be back for a while. So yeah, honestly, if you see Logray, get him. First Order. Okay, I am going to have a little guess, like I said, that this is Hyperdrive, just based on some of the numbers I'm seeing. Level 80 is a very odd place for people to leave things. But yeah, I'm just looking here, I think this is what I would call serviceable First Order. If you were to give Hux a little bit more attention, you've got a very solid team. I mean, again, it's not going to punch anything too big, but in GA defense, perhaps it'll throw a question mark out there, make people stop and go, oh, hang on, Hux is in there. So, yeah, just give him a Zeta and get him a little bit of gear. Could be annoying. And then you've got Crew as well doing his thing. So, yeah, that's worth considering. So I did see it before, you've got Padme, no Zeta, so that's a little bit awkward. You've got GMY, no Zeta. I was in that camp for a long time, so I can't judge there. I feel like that's a question I need to ask. At 2.266 million, you seem to be struggling for Zetas. Either that, or you are very selective over your Zetas, like you don't give one out unless you need to. So maybe that's something you could do, just looking at, finding out why. Because I've looked at your guild just on my stat page, and you've about 200 million GP, I think, as a guild. So, in theory, from Territory Wars alone, you should be getting a lot of Zetas. Well, maybe not a lot, but enough. And then you've got GA as well, you've got all these events. So, I'm a little confused why your Zeta count's so low at this level. Maybe you took a break or something? So, again, just give me a bit of feedback on that, because I don't be too harsh when I'm saying things, but I look at, say, this faction. And the top row alone, it needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zetas. You know, and I recognise that's a lot of Zetas. You know, you got 100 mats to get there, and I haven't even touched on Kenobi there, or the clones. So, yeah, I do get Zetas are a rarity, you can't just give them out, but if you're struggling to earn them, though, as well, I'm a little bit confused how that's happening. because your dark side fleet should be good enough to do the Executrix fleet challenge, so you should be getting them 3 times a week. And there's just so many other ways right now to get Zetas quite regularly. So yeah, I'm a little bit curious. So if you don't mind me saying it like that, maybe there is a simple explanation I've overlooked, but if it's something a little bit more deep-rooted, then I'd like to know so I can try and help you out. Geonosians, I did have a quick glance at that earlier. I was curious about your watch shards. Some facts letting you down a bit there. You could do with a bit more gear, to say the least. Temin's in a similar boat, so again, I'm not judging. It's just sometimes you can't get to a team. So yeah, what I would say, if you do want to try and earn a watch shard for your guild, if you're doing 200 mil, I'm guessing you're doing Darkside Geonosis, then yeah, I would say if you could just give him that gear piece at some point, then I think he does get a little bit easier past that point. I might be wrong, but Sunfac is still one of the harder farms in the game. But if it's true, what we've read recently in the game update, that they're going to start adding stun guns to the daily farming, to the daily challenges, i.e., you know, you like with your ability mats and all that stuff that you do two 6 days a week and then you get all 6 on Sunday. Then yeah, fingers crossed if we're getting stun guns from that, then you can speed up Sunfac, because I know the Carbantes and stun guns were a pain with him. So yeah, hopefully you can get round to him, just build up the Geos a bit. Okay, let's move down. We've seen your troopers, so let's go to your Jedi. We've had a fair look at most of them. Jolie, I do get the problem there with these two. They require gear that other people need. Stun guns, probably. So yeah, I do get that. There's always something that slows them down. A little bit interesting that Ezra got there early. I'm guessing that was to help with Thrawn. I mean, Kanan, he's gear... I think that's gear 8, I think. So yeah, I do get a few of these. I get why some of these things do happen. Still, I'm looking and thinking Zeta, maybe not on Bastila. I'm looking and thinking sometimes it's one people do. So yes, again, if it's hyperdrive, maybe that's what happened. You just didn't go for it. You went straight for a Revan or something. Okay, I'm just skipping along. I feel like I waffle a little bit in these places. Okay, with respect, this is the clearest indicator you've hyperdrived. All level 80 and level 5s with no mods. Okay, again, there's no judgment. It's just more a case of I do ask the question when I'm playing, when I'm looking through these. It's like, have they been given any attention? And the simple answer is no. Maybe worth giving them a little bit of attention down the line. I mean, I haven't got a hyperdrive account as such. I have got that, but yeah, I sort of had most of the factions built out by that point. So I look at it and I think, yeah, if you could actually just maybe put a bit into zombie, then at least the Night Sisters can do some good on defense, or even offense if you're lucky. So again, it's one of these instances where one character can make a big difference. Old Republic, are you going for Sith Empire? Not yet, by the looks of it. Okay. You've got priorities, I respect that. Your Rebels, anything going on here? You got CLS, good. You got Chewie, as we saw. Alright, I'm going to carry on to Resistance at the moment. Yeah, you've got BB at 5-star. You haven't made any progress, though, towards Rey Jedi training. So, again, priorities. I get it. Scoundrels. We did see Nest earlier. That's very good for GA, obviously. Your Sappies. You got Dooku at gear 10. That's good. One of those, what would I call it? A no-brainer Zeta on Dooku. You know, if you can give Dooku a Zeta at some point, it's one of those where you go, yeah, he's going to do great with it. He can do solo stuff with his Zeta. So, while I wouldn't say top of the list, it's one of those where when you got rid of a few of those must-have Zetas, Dooku's is definitely one to consider. Newt as well. Newt at one point I wasn't really fussed about his Zeta, and then it dawned on me how much damage he was doing via max health damage. So, yeah, I would consider giving Newt one as well. Okay, finally, Sith. Because there's going to be a lot of bread and butter stuff here as far as for your Sith Eternal farm. So you've got Sidious to gear 11. Now, me personally, I would leave him till later on to take all the way. Now, I do get why people don't do that. I've done it myself when I did my SLKR farm. I got the Relic 7s out the way early, and I thought, right, then I don't have to worry about the Zim Bindles. The issue I would say there, though, is Sidious on his own is not a great character. You know, it's not like he can do solo work. If you put him in a Sith or an Empire team, he's really there to just take hits rather than to actually deliver hits, in my opinion. I know some people have made use of him with Treya, which you've got to level 1 there, but I think to myself, I think it's a heavy investment at Relic 7 to just have it ready, you know, unless you've got other things built up to sort of carry the weight of it. So I look at what you've got, and I think you should really try and do Marauder before Sidious, so we're talking Relic 7s. But Dooku, I think Dooku was Relic 6 as a requirement, I think. I cannot remember for sure because I haven't done Sith Eternal Emperor. Maul, if I'm right, was Relic 4. And I'm thinking both of them I would do ahead of Sidious. Well, all three of them, Dooku, Maul and Marauder. Sidious I would actually leave maybe second last now. Because I didn't look at your Empire in full, but you've got Krennic at 5 stars, so you've made some progress there. Royal Guard has actually shot up my list now. I'd actually have him early on in the farming just because he can be a great little tank for a team. So unyielding defender as a Zeta has got some viability now. So yeah, just in general here, I would say you're looking good as far as the Sith Eternal Emperor farm. I just feel like maybe you could do with holding back on Sidious. I don't want you stopping because obviously Sidious will need to be done, but you think to yourself, Krennic is probably the only one who's got less viability anywhere in the game. So yeah, I just think to myself, don't bloat your roster. Don't get something built up that you don't need. And I'll be honest, at that point, I've just seen the time of the recording. I'm on 38 minutes, so I'm thinking I'm going to wrap up around here, but we are going to have a quick look at ships. So, I did notice this when I saw the screen at the beginning. You've got a 6-star TIE bomber. Well done on that. Please don't tell me you're still continuing the farm. I know that it's such a drag as far as you've got Queel's node, and maybe you aren't doing anything with Queel right now, so it's like you just don't really want to farm it. But TIE Bomber can be such a great ship at 7-star as far as it's got such tankiness. I'd actually argue it's up there with Houndstooth and the Rebel Y-Wing as just a great tanking ship. I think maybe not even the Rebel Y-Wing, but the Republic Y-Wing. The actual... It's funny, they've brought these ships into the game, like the Hyena Bomber as well. They're crewless, but they have actually got such tankiness. So I certainly wouldn't sleep on the TIE Bomber. Don't just leave it at 6 because the wreck's done. Try and get it all the way, because you've got your TIE Advance there at 7. Obviously Vader's Relic 7 as well. You've done great work getting Imperial TIE Fighters to gear 12, which will only do you great work when it comes to having a great fleet. I mean, just to sort of show that point off, TIE Fighter, 192 speed. That will outspeed a lot of fleets. So take the Executor right now. I may be mistaken, but that could be outspeeding an Executor. If not, a little bit more gear or 16 mods could potentially do it. Yeah, you've got 1.6 D mod. So if you were to take all those to at least 5A, you could potentially be having a faster TIE fighter pilot than Executors. I'm not saying that would then mean with the ships you've got you could beat one, but it's just the idea that that ship, I think, is going to become such a useful ship to have if you're trying to beat other fleets that are faster than you. So yeah, by all means, you've done great work just working on TFP there as well. But just going back to the original point, you've got Vader ship, you've got the bomber, you've got TFP. If I just look at your Empire in general, they're the only 3 you've got. Let's just check your Sith. Yeah, you've only got a 2-star bomber. Okay, so that one's a little bit awkward for me as far as advising. As if you were telling me you were going for Veers, I would have said farm that at the same time. but because you've already got Veers, it's a bit awkward for me to now say, yeah, go get the bomber. But the thing is, the bomber is a great ship. It's a bit hard to explain without being able to show all the abilities on screen, but just the concussion mines as an ability, they can be so frustrating for opposition fleets. I mean, take, say, if you think about the negotiator, well, the first move most negotiators do is the mass stays AoE, which is really annoying. But then, if you have this ship coming in behind it, and it puts concussion mines out, which don't do anything initially, but then they daze opponents, it can be so frustrating because you've got one wave of daze to begin with, and then this thing's coming in and dazing you again. And by the time the daze is worn off there, the negotiator's usually ready for another wave. So this may be problems further down the line for you, right? Because I know that just from looking at your fleets before, I know your capital ships, you aren't exactly in that position yet. Still, I'm thinking ahead, I'm kind of future-proofing for you. And I would say that, can you sort of prepare yourself for later? I mean, again, I'm just going to go back to your main screen, your arenas. But 139. 139 with what you've got is respectable. What I would say is that Tarkin is probably the better fleet commander for you. If you think about what the two offer. Thrawn looks nicer. You know, he's got the nice, flashy ultimate. Tarkin, though. Tarkin's executive order. He gives 2 meters to the team, gives offense up, and Empire allies also gain potency up for 1 turn. It's a small thing. I think there is an actual second boost as well when you get the executrix to 7-star. It might be, I'm trying to remember it. Is it something like defense penetration as well? I can't remember for sure. But just the idea that Tarkin has got a lot of benefit. You know, it can just help you keep the team moving fast. Just keep that at the heart of every decision you make. Is this going to make my team faster than the opponent? Because usually if you're faster, it means you go and beat them. So whilst Thrawn's fleet it looks nice. I mean, like I say, you've got the very flashy ultimate, which eliminates it instantly defeats the target enemy, and then you get a lot of the stats. I'll be honest, I can't be bothered reading all that. But when you think, the only other one that's kind of useful is Art of War, which heals. But it doesn't really do anything else. If there's something there that said, right, attackers or support gets speed up, then maybe that would kind of compensate. But yeah, it doesn't do anything like that. So I look at it and I think, personally, I'd be going for Executrix as the fleet commander, but if you don't do it, I do get why, because Thrawn's ultimate, it does have that nicer look to it. But anyway, maybe something for you to just play around with, because I think about it in the sense of, can you get more crystals each day? Can you get top 50 in Fleet Arena? Can you get, we were talking maybe top 500 in Squad Arena? Those are the changes I've been talking about in this video. Hopefully they're things that can help you get that. But let me know, because maybe you're not prioritising that way. Maybe you've got different priorities than what I'm seeing here. Maybe you're just solely focused on C and it doesn't matter about anything else in the meantime. But don't forget, C as a Galactic Legend, it's not that great on defense. So if you're talking about Squad Arena, GA, it's a very offensive toon. It can beat anything pretty much, but you're also going to need stuff with it. So I talked about what, we haven't got what unlocked, so that's one thing. You've got your armour at 3-star, you'll need to farm that up as well, because the armour is such a key component right now to making Sith Eternal Emperor do well. So yeah, just another thing to keep in mind as well there. But yeah, I have waffled on a lot. I've probably not stopped talking for 45 minutes, so I'm going to leave it there. But yeah, I did bring this up right at the start of the video, but the roster reviews may not be weekly as I've been doing up to this point from here. I will try and get as many out as I can. Simple reason for it is, I'm looking to sell my iMac, and just supposing I get a bite on it and someone says, yeah, I'll give you the money I'm asking, I will probably be able to not be able to make videos for 10 to 14 days from that date. So yeah, if I just suddenly stop uploading and maybe my streams disappear, that will be behind it. So yeah, I'm just trying to give you a heads up just in case you wonder what's gone on there. But yeah, I did a stream with Darth Lockwitter the other week, very nice guy, and I was just a little bit embarrassed when I was doing my part of the stream. I couldn't actually keep up on the performance end as my Mac was basically moaning the entire time through it. So yeah, it was breaking point for me. I thought if I can change, I will be changing. So that is what's going on, folks. Hopefully it won't be disruption to the channel for a long time. It'll just maybe a little issue for the next month or so, depending if I get a bite. So with that in mind, thank you for listening, folks. I hope you enjoyed the roster review. I hope it's been of some help to Erik, who requested it. I've got a list that's going back a couple of months of people who've been asking, so your name is on my list. I will get round to it. Sorry if it feels like it's been an eternity since you requested it, but I am getting round to them as quick as I can. But other than that, thank you for listening. I will see you in the next one. Bye for now, everyone.